Now, there's tons and tons of palettes inside Photoshop. This is my Essentials workspace, which is probably the workspace that you're inside. What I mean by the workspace is sort of the layout of your screen or the setup of your interface. So there's lots and lots of palettes to look at. We won't look at any specific palettes just yet. I won't actually tell you exactly what all these do. Your intuition may kick in, or maybe you've played with some of these palettes already. But there's some common properties between some of these palettes which maybe we should look at. So obviously you saw me here. I was clicking on the tabs here to open up some of the different palettes. Again, there's lots and lots of palettes in here. I even have some palettes way down at the bottom here. There's channels and layers. Now, if I want my full laundry list of palettes, you'll find all of your palettes listed up underneath your window menu. There's lots and lots of them in here. For example, I'll turn on History. There's my History palette. I'll go and open up my character palette. There's another one for working with text. Now, how the palettes work, it's kind of interesting. I get these little icons here showing up, and I can click on these guys to open and close my palettes like so. There's my history guy here. If you're not sure what an icon is, just hover over top there. There's our tooltips. Once again, there's my paragraph palette, for example. The other thing that I can do, once again, I see another white arrow up at the top. I could click on that to collapse these guys down or expand them out. Again, if I want to give myself more screen real estate or less screen real estate to work in. Now, most of the palettes have icons going across the bottom. Again, just hover your mouse over top of the icons. You'll get a little tooltip there. And what every palette has, I should mention this as well, is up in the top right corner, we have a palette menu. And inside the palette menu, you will find all kinds of extra options related to that particular palette. And again, that is common for all of our palettes here inside Photoshop. So as we're rolling along, if I say something like, go to the color palette menu, this is where I am referring to. Okay, great, good stuff. Now, to collapse this palette down, I could click on this little double-headed arrow here. That locks my color back down on the side. Good stuff. All right, now much like our tools that we saw over inside the toolbox, we also have some single keystroke equivalents to access some of our palettes. For example, F7 would access my layers. That's a common one. Hit F7 again. That'll tuck that guy away over on the side. F8. There's my info palette, a very handy palette. F8 again, hide that guy away. F5, big bad brushes. We'll talk about brushes a little bit later on. Okay, so again, you don't have to memorize them all, but it is handy to know a few of the more common ones. So just keep that in mind. All right, as for our Photoshop menus, there's lots and lots of commands inside these menus. I'm going to point out a couple of quick things. I will keep this short and sweet because I want to move on here. But probably one of the most important commands here inside Photoshop is our image size command. We'll take a look at that in short order. We also have our adjustment submenu. Here's where all of our color correction tools reside. And the menu that everybody loves, our filters. This is all of your special effects, which we'll get to as well. Of course, you'll find some common commands underneath Edit, like cutting and copying. Common commands underneath the File menu, like Open and Save and Close, all that good stuff. So you'll have your common commands in the usual spots.